So I want to show you how to make a very simple PvP two-player arena kind of game. So I've got two controllable players here, WSD for one, arrow keys for the other, and they can shoot each other. And you can shoot him, you can shoot him, and they respawn back here, and we're keeping count. So about as simple as you can get. I will probably do a follow-up video where I add some more fun and frolics to it, but this is the starting point. So let's have a look at what we've got. Let's have a look over here. I've made this out of platforms and chains. I've got these assets from the asset store, from the Pirate Bomb asset library, which is really good. I've renamed them Player 1, Player 2. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to be really careful about naming with this because you get a bit lost otherwise with Player 1, Player 2, and so on. So Player 1, Player 2 are the actual players. Player 1 spawn, Player 2 spawn. These are just empty sprites which give me a spawn point for each one. And these are the numbers at the top. Start out at 0. And then I've got a bullet for each player as well. So let's go and have a look at the behaviors of each one. So the behavior of each player is much the same. They've both got a fire bullet behavior, which I have not changed any of the defaults on yet. They've each got a character animator and a platformer, and I've unticked the default controls. I think the only change I've made, I tweaked jump speed just to make it a bit more fun. So each of them are identical in that respect. And these are all just platforms, and I don't think there's anything else to look at here. So into the event sheet. So it's a bit longer than you'd want it to be necessarily, because obviously you have to double everything up. You've got two players, so you've got pretty much the same events twice each time. So WASD, I guess, for player 1, simulate pressing those keys, and left key, right key, up key, simulate pressing those keys for player 2. So that's the controls there. Shooting, using that fire bullets behavior. So player 1 is using the F key, and we're shooting left and right, 0, 180, depending on whether they're flipped or not, which is handled by the character animator, which is nice. And each player does, I have created a point for each one to shoot from. I just think it looks nicer. Rather than shooting from like the top left corner of each one, I've added a shoot point, which is this point here. So they're actually shooting from directly in front of them. Just looks nice. Back into here. So we're shooting bullets at each other. Nice and straightforward. I delete the bullets if they hit the scenery. Again, double up all the time. And then with the bullets hitting the player, go back to the player, pick any one of them. Each player has got a variable which I've added, which is the deaths count, which I've made a number, and it starts at 0. So when player 1 bullet hits player 2, it's a good idea to have separate bullets. Otherwise, it's too easy to do friendly fire and shoot yourself. So delete player 1 bullet and reset the player back to the spawn point. Add 1 to that variable deaths of player 2, and just update the text display, and then identical for the other player. And that's all there is to it. It's a very straightforward game to make. It just takes a bit of time, mostly because you have to double up all of the events. What I'm going to add next, I think, is I'm going to add power-ups. I'm going to have power-ups falling from the top. So add gameplay to it. You get like more powerful guns, perhaps, or improved jump speed. Maybe we'll have power downs as well. So randomly you become really slow, or get a really slow cooldown, something like that. I'll add, and maybe more levels. It'd be nice to have moving platforms and things like that. So I'll add all of that in a future version.